Let's see if you can tell what's different. I have a new place now! Haha! It's very, very nice. However, we just started moving in, hence why I'm using a lawn chair instead of a couch to sit on. But anyway, today I'm going to dedicate this countdown to those video game characters that just make you want to do this to your TV.
Would you like to call the cops? Do you think it's that time, fuckers?
Even if you don't get what I mean, let me put it to you this way. These are the top 15 characters I hate in video games. This goes without saying, but video games are filled with characters that come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, and personalities. Some of them are pretty awesome, but some of them just make you want to punch your TV. This list is all about those kind of characters. The despicable, the annoying, and the downright obnoxious. The same rules as always apply, only from games I've played and one per franchise. Also, keep in mind that I will be breaking the general consensus and bashing characters people like at some point, so put up a flame shield when that happens. So, without any further ado, let the rage begin! Mortal Kombat is awesome. Unless you're looking at the 3D games. Those range from crappy to pretty good. But one main problem I have with these games is that the characters introduced in these games are either generic, one-dimensional, or annoying. To start this list off, we have a character that matches all three of these traits, Dagon. Basically, he's the stereotypical evil twin brother, so he gets some points in the generic department. His personality is non-existent, and he's annoying in the actions department. Basically, in a nutshell, he kills his own parents, enslaves the dragon that guards him in his sleep, and then tries to kill his brother. Why? Oh, here's why.
So you know. Yes, I killed them. I had to. Lord Shinnok warned me that they had decided to assist you.
You killed them over the prize?
With the very weapons Father gave us to use against Blaze.
Look, you could have just competed with your brother fair and square instead of making yourself look like an over-competitive scumbag. If you were to ask me what my favorite video game franchise ever was, it would definitely be Pokemon. But one thing I'll admit it isn't very strong in is the character department. A lot of the characters, particularly the protagonists, are zero-dimensional, and the characters that have personality usually aren't that good. But rather than taking the predictable route and picking one of the rivals, I'm instead going to pick the leader of Team Plasma, Getsis. At first he doesn't seem that bad, he just seems like the Pokemon equivalent of PETA. But just you wait. Later on in the game, he actually threatens to sick the legendary Pokemon on the entire region if they don't release their Pokemon. And then he reveals what his true intentions are, but not after berating his son N. Seriously? N is supposedly the heartless freak? You suck! Okay, where was I again? Oh yeah, his intentions. His real intentions were to force everybody to release all their Pokemon so that he would be the only one left with Pokemon, and therefore no one would be able to stop him when he tried to take over the world. And after you beat him, he gives one of the most cliched final speeches ever. In Black and White 2, he was a little less irritating than in Black and White 1, but not by much. Basically, the only heinous thing he does there is freeze all Pellucid City. But then again, at least he gets crap done. The 3D Sonic games have a ridiculous amount of annoying characters, ranging from Dr. Robotnik and his annoying speech patterns, to Charmy Bee, to Princess Bestiality, to even Sonic himself. But out of them all, the worst one in my eyes is easily Big the Cat. First off, I love cats. They're my favorite kind of pets to have, actually. So this is how they decide to have a cat character in the game. A morbidly obese and idiotic feline pile of vomit. Thankfully, they ended up introducing another cat character who's a lot better in my eyes, but anyway, that's not the topic at hand. Basically, all Big ever does is just try to find this frog that he, for some reason, obsesses over. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. And most importantly, he was the absolute worst character to play as in Sonic Adventure, and had this ridiculously boring fishing minigame. Let's face it, these fishing minigames were nothing more than a way to advertise the Dreamcast fishing rod. And even in future games like Sonic Heroes, he's still annoying, he's still bland, and he's still dumb as a box of rocks. Overall, to sum up Big, I think Nintendo powered for the best. Big, die in a fire and take Froggy with you. Ninja Gaiden is one of the best, and one of the hardest, games in the entire NES library. Now, most games at the time were not very big in the story department, and as a result, a good deal of the characters were rather one-dimensional. Granted, the main villain, the Jockweo, is guilty of that, but that's not the only reason why he's on this list. Basically, he supposedly kills your father, but in reality, he brainwashes him and turns him into this invincible demon knight thing. I don't know what that's supposed to be. And of course, he does the generic, "Don't move and give me what I want or I will kill this hostage" situation. Some of you are probably thinking, oh come on, that's common stuff for a villain. What really puts him on this list is the incredibly difficult boss battle. His fireballs home in on you, and unless you have the pattern completely gotten down, they will not go off screen until they hit you. And he's really tough to hit too while doing this. And it gets much worse. If you die against him, you have to go all the way back to stage 6-1. You have to go all the way through 3 incredibly difficult stages just to get another shot at him. And there's still one more boss after this. Battles like this are the reason they coined the term Nintendo Hard, people. One video game series that I really need to play more games of it is the Zelda franchise. Now I'm gonna be honest, I'm really not that impressed with most of the games I've played so far. Yeah, there are a couple that I like, in particular Ocarina of Time from what little I've played of it, and Skyward Sword, which to be honest is my favorite game in the series so far. It introduced a couple good characters, a couple bad characters, and it introduced to us one of the most egregiously overrated video game characters in recent memory, Groose. Basically, what they did here was they took Nash from Lunar Silver Star Story Complete and made him not just egotistical, but the stereotypical schoolyard bully. But in a sense, he's also like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, in that he's an egomaniac who got rejected by the very woman he's crazy for. And yes, he antagonizes Link solely because he's friends with Zelda. He steals and hides Link's Loftwing in order to make sure he gets booted from a very important competition. But even though he's not really a bully once you get past that, he's still ridiculously annoying. Once you reach the sealed ground area, he proceeds to give it the name Groosland. And after you beat the final boss, just watch.
Could somebody please remind me why people like this guy?
Because he's funny.
He's not. Really, the only time I was laughing was when I was laughing at him getting told off by Zelda.
He actually helps Link out along the way.
Okay, he does one thing to help. That's it. I will give him that, but he's still ridiculously annoying.
Okay, actually that Legend of Groose line was a joke. But it was a really crappy joke. To sum this all up, Groose is a Groose bag. As far as annoying Mario characters go, Toad isn't as bad as it gets. At least if you ask me. Rather, I'm going to single out Bowser Jr. Seriously, why does Bowser insist on repeatedly giving him toys Mario has zero trouble beating when he could easily be powering his own forces up? My main gripe with him is that he is a really bad replacement for the Koopalings. Seriously, the Koopalings at least had novelty value and different personalities. What's this little turd's excuse?
Leave my mama alone, you bad man. I won't let you take Mama Peach away. Mama?
But the real biggest kick to the nuts he's given us is his appearance in Super Mario Galaxy 2, in which he does a downright horrendous job of filling his father's footsteps, and he outright tells you the weaknesses of his contraptions. Bowser Jr., a bad replacement for the Koopalings, and a terrible successor to Bowser.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't get the hype behind Angry Birds. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's addicting. But is it really worth spawning 3 copy-paste sequels? No, it's not. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is, those pigs are annoying.
Yeah, these pigs are the very reason the Angry Birds are, well, angry. They're incredibly greedy, constantly stealing the birds' eggs. They're rather cowardly, hiding behind glass, wood, and stone. And should you fail to beat them, they pull a duck hunt dog and laugh at your failure.
I'm starting to get hungry for bacon.
Cave Story is an indie classic with a unique gameplay style combining RPG elements with 2D shoot-'em-up elements. The characters aren't really that impressive, but there's one in particular that's really infuriating. The Doctor. He was part of a team of researchers sent to investigate the island. However, he found the Demon Crown and became very power hungry. We've got to have power. And now he aims to, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
Well, the most important detail about him is that he nearly drives the Mimigas into extinction. And the reason why is because he's going to use the Mimigas as an army to try and help him take over the world. And he's one of those villains that just refuses to stay dead. He possesses the island core after his body is destroyed, and then mutates both Misery and Sue. The Doctor, Adolf Hitler, but with bunnies instead. What would be the first thing to come to your mind if I said the next character on this list was from Star Fox? Slippy?
Wrong!
Andrew Oikony?
Wrong!
Pigma?
Wrong!
Stop. Yes, it's Pigma. Yes, I know Fawful's minion has already ripped on him in incredible detail, but I digress. I'm still doing it. Regardless of if anybody famous ripped on him first, Pigma is still nevertheless a fat, greedy, obnoxious piece of crap. Before the events of the first Star Fox game, Pigma backstabs the Star Fox team, killing James and nearly killing Peppy. And afterwards, he joins Star Wolf in order to make more money. In Star Fox 64, the real annoying thing about Pigma is how he constantly references how he killed your father.
Too bad Dad's not here to see you fail.
Yeah, well here's what I have to say to that.
I'm gonna rip your balls off so you cannot contaminate the rest of the world!
And not to mention, including the dad jokes, he's also spouted some of the most annoying lines of dialogue ever heard on a Nintendo game.
I killed him for reward. I'll do you fast, Peppy, old pal.
Smell you later!
Okay, first the Angry Birds pigs and now this? Okay, I'm gonna go on a lunch break. Got some bacon to eat. This is some good bacon. Okay, I am back. What's number 6?
Hug. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Remind me why I decided to do this.
If Navi and the HAL 9000 got thrown into a blender, 343 Guilty Spark would be the end result. It has Navi's annoyance factor, as well as the HAL 9000's superiority complex. It never, and I mean never, shuts up about how intelligent it is.
Unfortunately, my usefulness to this particular endeavor has come to an end.
And its superiority complex often leads to a questionable sense of right and wrong. Not only does it become the leader of the Covenant, but it's also glad to say the Flood is reproducing. And towards the end of Halo 3, it finds out that its plan won't be able to be done because it's going too slowly, so guess what it does? It gets all whiny and then backstabs you, killing Johnson. And the worst part about it is that this thing is actually Halo 3's final boss. Now granted, its crap factor is lessened by the fact that Halo 4 exists, but that's not an excuse for such a horrendous battle. The only, and I mean only, good thing about this battle is that we finally get to blow 343 Guilty Spark up, but even then, that doesn't make the battle any better.
Porky Minch.
Yes, everybody's already ranted about Porky. However, to make this different, I'm going to rant about what he does in Earthbound as well as what he does in Mother 3, since most people ignore what he does in Earthbound. At first, he just plays the role of the annoying brat next door, and then he attempts to use Paula as a sacrifice while he's a happiest, and then he joins forces with Gygus. Since everybody's already talked about what he does in Mother 3, I'll keep my rants short. Basically, he gets bored and decides to blow up the world because of that. Here's a list of what happens because of that. Your mother dies. Your brother dies. Your brother gets revived and then brainwashed. Your brother dies for real this time. The world nearly explodes. Does he die? No. He gets imprisoned in the absolutely safe capsule for all eternity since he can't die. I guess that's not quite as good, but it'll work, I guess. Okay, to sum this up, Porky is a very fat and very annoying turd.
You're lucky, wee man! Ah!
If you were to ask me what franchise I felt had the most amount of unlikable characters, it would definitely be Final Fantasy.
I'm dead serious. I could probably make a top 10 Final Fantasy characters I hate. Now, if I were to try and list all of them vocally, it would probably take up the whole video, so here's a list. But seeing as how I have the one per franchise rule in place, I only have to pick one, and boy have I picked one. Shantoto. Yes, I know that the one-winged angel has already ripped on Shantoto in great detail before, but I'm still gonna do it. Even though somebody semi-famous has ripped on her, I'm still gonna rip on this narcissistic, annoying Gruntilda wannabe. Her debut appearance was in Final Fantasy XI, in which she would constantly send you on annoying quests, and once you were done, you had to pay her an exorbitant amount of money, or she would kill you instantly. Even worse is her appearance in Dissidia Final Fantasy, in which she does nothing but rant about how more powerful she is than everybody on the Chaos side, and how she's going to beat them all, and that how she's supposedly Cosmos' most powerful warrior. But something that truly baffles me about Shantoto is people actually like her. In Final Fantasy XI, she was just an annoying mooch that would send you on annoying quests. What happens? She gets her own freaking storyline. And worse yet, she got to represent Final Fantasy XI in the original Dissidia instead of Prish. Granted, I don't really have an opinion on Prish, but still, it would have been better than Shantoto!
Surrender now to oblivion!
Jasper Bat Jr.
Okay, I'll admit, my experience with Jasper Bat Jr. wasn't as bad as everyone else's because I knew about his actions long before I actually played No More Heroes 2. But still, that doesn't mean my experience with him was pleasant in the slightest. Despite the fact that he's the UAA's #1 assassin, you know what he does? Jack. The only thing he really does is just send his minions to do the dirty work for him. He kills Bishop, he makes you think he's killed Sylvia, Henry, and Shinobu, and his voice sounds worse than mine when I recorded it with that crappy $10 microphone.
I'll relish every moment, every second of this kill. May you savor your death as well!
But the worst aspect about him, you ask? The boss battle against him. The first form is really easy, except for the part where you have to reach a power struggle in order to continue damaging him. And then there's the second form. Holy freaking crap, the second form. He always teleports away from you, he pulls really powerful combos that are difficult to dodge, and he has the Hurricane Punch. Also, stay away from the windows! If you're lucky enough to get past his second form, you're treated to... Wait, what?
Since when did Big Boy become an assassin? But seriously, this battle blows.
His third form is a parade float. That has to be the single worst concept for a final boss in video game history. And is the third form itself good? No. It's ridiculously confusing because he can punch you from quite literally anywhere in the room. And is his death satisfying? Not really. It's basically just the villain exploding in an 8-bit game. Also, yes, I know he's supposed to be symbolism that revenge isn't satisfying, but that doesn't excuse such a wretched mess of a character! Number 2 is from a Call of Duty game. Yeah, I know. Okay, yes, Call of Duty does repeat the same game every year, but then again, so does Assassin's Creed, Angry Birds, and pretty much every EA Sports game. I mainly play Call of Duty for the storylines, and they're actually pretty good, particularly in the Modern Warfare games. But seeing as how this is a game about global war, obviously there will be a ton of annoying characters. How many, you may ask? Really, the only examples I can think of off the top of my head are Shepard, and number 2 on this list, Makarov. When it comes to this global war starting scumbag, I'm pretty sure Shepard put it best.
This man Makarov is fighting his own war and he has no rules, no boundaries. He doesn't flinch at torture, human trafficking, or genocide. He's not loyal to a flag or a country or any set of ideals. He trades blood for money.
But we are just scratching the surface there. It gets much, much worse. Okay, let's start with the first Modern Warfare. Remember the nuke from the first Modern Warfare that killed 30,000 US soldiers and drove Shepard to the point of insanity where he started the war? Well, Makarov detonated the nuke. And in the second Modern Warfare, he commits a mass shooting at a Russian airport, all the while making it seem like they were Americans because they had American weapons, spoke English, etc. And this causes the Russians to declare war on the US. Pretty much all of the destruction seen in Modern Warfares 2 and 3 were caused by Makarov. But in Modern Warfare 3, he is without a doubt at his worst. He attempts to assassinate the Russian president and kidnaps his daughter nonetheless. And he also kills Soap McTavish. So to sum this up, Makarov is a greedy piece of dog crap that almost brought the world to destruction. Let me tell you how satisfying it is when he finally gets his just desserts.
Now, every character on this list gets on for one reason or another, but number 1 gets on for almost every reason. But the really depressing part is I've talked to death about this character before back on my H-Bomb crew account, but I've never explained why. That ends today. My pick for the most hateable character in video game history is... No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. This video is over. Goodbye. What's that?
Then we will see who is fit to be supreme ruler and who is dead.
No.
That's right. My pick for the most hateable character in video game history is Galleon. Now, I've already mentioned that he's an unimaginable stockpile of hateable traits, so let's just get this over with. Okay, first off, those of you who've played this game may remember the scene where Althena reincarnates herself. Well, you think that is his motivation, but it's not actually about faith and holiness. It's actually egomania that motivates him. And this particular line right here is a dead giveaway. His list of actions isn't as heinous as Makarov's, but it's still ridiculous. He kidnaps your girlfriend, manipulates an entire race, nearly destroys Vayne, and attempts to suck the life out of an entire freaking planet. He also helped introduce Western audiences to a trope that annoys me: the white-haired pretty boy. He pretends to be on your side at first, and then stabs you in the back the very freaking second he finds out Luna is Althena's reincarnation.
But easily the worst aspect about him is the absolutely horrendous final battle.
Okay, I'll admit, the first battle against him was pretty good actually. But the final battle against him is quite possibly the worst boss battle I have ever encountered. It's just like Galleon himself. a gigantic mess of bad boss tropes. Seriously, this battle is so horrendous that I don't even know where to start. Well, I think a good place to start, to be honest, would be the length of the battle. It usually takes 20 minutes to beat. Yeah, I know there are battles that take longer. I'm looking at you, Yeez, Matt. But that's still awful. It's absurdly difficult, mostly due to the battle system that where you level up, the bosses level up also. What that translates to is that level grinding is almost useless. It's a blatant rehash of the first battle against him with fake difficulty increases, no less. But the cherry on top of the vomit sundae here is his speech pattern!
Time to die. 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 Time to die.
Okay, I'll admit, it sounded cool the first couple times, but after a 20-minute long boss battle, it gets annoying to the point where the screaming from Suicide Mouse makes for a more pleasant sound. Oh, and his death is also unsatisfying too. He just goes on and on again about how he supposedly won even though he's dying, and then just disappears in a flash of light. But somehow the battle still isn't over after that. You have to go up the final stairwell. However, if you try this, you get fried with lightning and die instantly. To keep this from happening, you have to use an item you've literally never used before in this game earlier. Well, unless you use it as a sound test. You will likely not have saved the first time around, meaning you'll have to restart all of your progress and have to go through the entire boss battle all over again.
Yes, if you go up the stairs without saving and without using a specific item that you never use until now, you have to repeat the entire boss battle. You'll have to put up with the obscene HP, the powerful attacks, and the annoying speech pattern, and the rehashing, and all the other crap about this. The hunt shall continue.
Please, have mercy.
It must have happened again. I know the reason why you have these outbursts. Come to my house, the address is enclosed below. P.S. Try to say something positive about Galleon. Say something positive about him. Okay, I'll admit it. Even though he is the most hateable character in video game history, he's actually a very well done character.
Yeah, I said it. Even though I do want to beat the ever-loving crap out of him, I have to admit that he is a very, very well done character. He actually was a good guy before his faith in holiness / egomania drove him off the deep end. And aside from the annoying speech pattern in the last battle, his voice work is actually really, really good.
Oh, then the time has finally come. My coming out party can begin.
Besides, in Lunar 2, I actually hear he gets better. Granted, I haven't played this game, but still, Galleon is a very, very well done character, but I still want to watch him burn. I'm the Spirit of Vengeance, and on a lighter note, I'm going to do a 2-part secret project. See you later.